For more content on tonight's episode, make sure you check out the YouTube channel under Al Nicoletti, the Facebook personal page and the business page under Al Nicoletti, and the Al Nicoletti Show, which is on iTunes and Spotify. All the amazing past guests that are on the Al Nicoletti Show, all on the real estate world in Florida, and now going a little bit beyond that as well, checking out all the amazing content on Instagram. Check out all the guests. All the guests on the Al Nicoletti Show have a lot of value and provide a lot of content and information, and they help you scale your business to the next level. And tonight's guest, Brad Blazar, he's the man, and I can't wait to introduce you to Brad. It's going to be a great show, so stay tuned. And here goes the intro like I always do. Hey, everybody. My name's Al Nicoletti. I'm an attorney here in Florida, and welcome to the Al Nicoletti Show, where I bring on real estate super investors, rising rock stars, movers and shakers, and leaders of clubs in the community that educate, entertain, and inspire all things on Florida real estate. Well, not even just Florida anymore. We're going outside of that too. We're bringing everybody in, everybody that's trying to invest in Florida and bring value to the Florida real estate market on how you can take your company to the next level. I have the electric motivational speaker on my show today, Brad Blazar. He always brings the heat on the episodes. When I met Brad at Mastermind, this guy was, from the minute I met him, he was go. Here's what's going on. Here's what we can do. I love his energy. I love what he brings. He's the $2 billion man. He does all this stuff with Capital School, helping people raise that capital, helping investors and real estate professionals really take their business to the next level. So without further ado, I'm going to let him roll, because when Brad's on a roll, it's fire. I love him. I love the guy. So Brad, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to see you.
So glad to be here. How are you doing? It's great to be here with you again, and to see you live, see you doing this, doing big things. I'm just really here to serve and add as much value as I can to your listening audience tonight, my friend.
Yeah, Brad, amazing. We met at Mastermind, and from there we clicked, we hit it off, and I love that you're on my show. Brad, tell everybody, who's Brad? Like, where were you before Capital School and before the $2 billion man? Like, how did you even get here today, and what are you doing today?
Sure. So, my background basically is I grew up in a, typical middle-class family. My dad was an executive. My mom didn't have to work. She was a stay-at-home housewife until all of us kids got older. Then she became a realtor. But there was a third person in my life, and it was kind of like the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That was my rich Uncle Henry, very wealthy. And I remember when I was about 7 years old, I was with him at the Palm Beach Country, which he actually owned, and he was walking me around. And at the very end, he turned to me when I was 7 and said something that was very impressionable. I kind of call it a revelation. It's kind of like a big aha moment that takes place in your life. And he said, someday, Brad, by helping other people, you will be able to get everything in life you want and deserve. And I never really understood that until I was much older. But I went to school studying to be an architect. I was really great at drawing, really great at making models, but I didn't want to be an architect. I wanted to use the skills to become a real estate developer. And while I was in school, I went to work for a small oil company, and they hired me basically to get on the phone and to reach out, cold calling, to high net worth accredited investors to raise capital for their drilling programs. And I got really good at that. I was a quick thinker, closer. I was 21, 22 years of age, and working basically 12 to 15 hours a week. I was making close to six figures while I was in school, going into the office between classes, after school, calling out to the West Coast. And so what does a smart kid who's in their 20s say? They say, well, shit, how much money could I make if I was doing this like 40 hours a week, working it as a full-time job? And so unbeknownst to my parents, I didn't tell them, I kind of just turned my back to my education, dropped out of school, started doing this full-time, went to work for a second company that unfortunately was somewhat dishonest, and we filed a class action against them. But when that took place, all of my investors looked at me. They had no idea how old I was because I was raising all this money over the phone. And they said, well, what are you going to do now? And I said, I don't have any idea. And they said, well, why don't you do what they do, but do it with honesty? And at that moment, I saw that huge door open. It was like that revelation that my uncle had given me came to life. And I said, wow. So I took $10,000, printed up some business cards, printed up some letterhead. I didn't know anything at all about drilling an oil well. I mean, I had never done that before. Didn't know anything about running a multi-million dollar business. Never done that before. Here I am, a college dropout, but I knew how to raise money. And so I started raising money. Then I hired other people. We got them licensed. They started raising money. And literally, we built a fairly nice oil company, 35 employees raising millions of dollars a month with drilling projects going. And, fast forward roughly 10 years, two things happened that really were unfortunate. Number one, oil prices plummeted. And number two, the tax laws changed dramatically under the Tax Act of 1987. It basically took away the incentives for people to give me capital. And so I collapsed the business, did it the right way, never had to file for bankruptcy, had a lot of money put away, went back to school, came out now with a degree in finance, and was out looking for a job. And it was very disillusioning because most of the people that wanted to hire me were offering me salaries that were close to what I used to make in a month. And I said, there's no way I'm going backwards. I'm going to go forwards. And so I was kind of like a cork in the ocean. I really had no idea what my future would look like. And then one day I was watching a show. It was Steve Harvey. And he was looking at the audience and he was saying to his audience, I believe everyone here has a unique gift. I call it you're something special. And if you can find out what that is, because most people never do, package it up, create content around it, and deliver it to the world, you can become hugely successful. And about 3 days after watching that, it was like, holy shit, my something special, man, is I know how to raise massive amounts of money. I do that better than anybody I know. And so we created Capital School, which is basically a coaching and mentorship program to teach people, entrepreneurs, business owners, CEOs, how to attract, raise, and close high net worth investor capital so they can build, buy, or scale their business or fund a special project like real estate. And so today we've grown. We've got students in literally multiple countries around the world. I'm so blessed. Australia, New Zealand, here, Canada, the UK, over in London, Dubai, Latin America. And it's like I just wake up every day blessed and humbled because I get to help teach this to people so that they can get off the hopium, right? Hoping everything's going to change, hoping that their life will improve and start to use opium, because that is the real secret, other people's money. And so that's a little bit about me and kind of where we are today and kind of where this journey really got started.
Yeah, so it's interesting, like where you were, like when you got started. So, like, what would be the best advice to those now? Like hindsight's 2020 about what you would have done differently. Well, a lot of the entrepreneurs just getting started in either raising the capital or getting in the finance game or getting in the real estate game. What would be the best advice to those that are just getting started like that?
Man, you just got to take effort and back it with massive action. So many people call me and say, hey, Brad, can you teach me how to do this? And the answer is absolutely, without any doubt. The question I have for you is, are you going to take action and put some effort in it? Because the money ain't going to just show up in a wheelbarrow. Like, dude, you have to really want success. So many people want six-pack abs, but when I go out to the beach, very few people have them. Why? Because it's hard work. And the funny thing is, everything you want in life is hidden under a pile of shit. Literally, think about it. Everything. You got to just move the shit. Most people don't want to touch it. Oh, it smells. But really, it's hard work, folks, to become a multimillionaire or even to become a millionaire. And the fact of the matter is, most people don't want to work that hard. Showing up early, staying up late, creating content, or being an expert at whatever it is you do. And unfortunately, we as humans are kind of designed by default to kind of get to a point in our comfort zone and stay there. You got a nice house, you got a nice car, you're able to put food on the table, take your family for nice vacations, and you're like, I got a good life. And I'm like, you got a good life, dude, but you don't have an extraordinary life. Here I am flying on private jets, taking people with me, going to events where I'm speaking alongside celebrities like boxing legend Floyd Mayweather, Bobby Castro, right? And so it's just that little extra. And so the thing that I would tell your listeners is, number one, back your goals with action and put some effort into what you want every single day. Number two, like my friend Bobby Castro says, man, rack it and stack it. Make the money, figure out what percentage you can save, and then save it. There will be a rainy day in your life, and you'll thank me later. But trust me, folks, life is like this. And if you don't have some emergency savings, you don't have some money invested, you got to start now. Build that foundation in what I call your financial wealth. And then number three, kind of pick your lane. Real estate, you got so much stuff. You got multifamily, storage, you got the BRRR method, you got rehabbing, wholesaling. Find one thing and just do it and do it great. So many people take a shotgun approach and then they wonder, like, why am I not making money? It's because you're going too wide. Do one thing and do it exceptionally well. And I guarantee you can be massively successful.
So that was capital, raising capital for you, right?
Correct.
So talk to us a little bit about that. And that's a great quote. I'm going to make sure we have that for our quote card. Find your something special, right? Your special thing that you do, because a lot of people, they see so many things. There's so many shiny objects that you got to focus on what you're doing and the thing that you do well, right?
That's it.
So with raising capital, tell us like what that process is. Like for me, I have no idea. And there may be other people that, I love it. Sounds great. It's money, 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 money. But like, what is that process? Like, where do you come in? Like, how does that whole thing work?
Yeah. So the biggest mistake most people make when they try to raise money is they pitch the opportunity way too early in the process. Unless it's a good friend or a family member that already knows, trusts you, loves you, admires you, you really have to understand that very few people are going to invest with you until they trust you. And so there's this thing called the trust sequence that really is 6 steps, 6 things that have to take place between you and somebody else. This is actually written about in a wonderful book called The Trust Economy that's written by a gentleman named Philippe de Koner, and he outlines this in much greater detail. But basically, it starts with the introduction or the perception, whether it's a cold call or a meeting or a referral, it is all about perception. You're talking to a successful entrepreneur, a high net worth investor. They're checking you out, from the quality of your business card to the quality of your pitch deck, to the way you dress, to the car that you show up in, to the quality of your office. If you're an office, your website, it's perception. And I always joke when I'm on stage and I say the women understand this concept a lot better than the guys, because for all you ladies out there that are listening, when you went on that first date, you were thinking to yourself, is there ever going to be a second one? But that's the same thing that's going on in the mind of this investor. When you get to step 2, this is where you have to listen more than you talk. You need to ask questions of that investor. When you invest, Al, do you like to get income? Do you like to get growth? Or are you looking for both? How important are the tax benefits to you? Are you investing this money to do something special with it, like put your kids through school or buy a second home? So be a good listener, because the second step is called temptation. You need to find out what's going to tempt that dude to write you a big old fat check. Then you get to the third step. We call this connection. Investing is an emotional connection with another person. Most investors do not read the big PPM that has all the risk disclaimers and all the bullshit and mumbo jumbo, because I guarantee it'll put you to sleep in about 5 minutes. You're an attorney. You understand the legalese, and for most people that are not lawyers, it'll put them right to sleep. So what do? They connect. I like you. I trust you. I like your pitch deck. So the connection is very important. When you notice that person has asked you to link with them on LinkedIn, or you see on Facebook they've joined your community, or on Instagram they're commenting on your post, they're now emotionally connected. And then you get to the 4th step, and this is the big and most important: validation. You've got to validate that this person trusts you before you ever pitch them on an opportunity, or you ever talk to them about an investment. So think of it this way: the process of raising money is 4 phone calls, 4 meetings, 4 Zooms. The first is introduction. The second basically is just a follow-up. Hey, did you get what I sent you? Do you have any questions? Great. Let me educate you a little bit on what we do. And you end that second call with one line that I've memorized and I teach people, that validates and uses sales psychology to set you up for success. It goes something like this: Al, I've really enjoyed getting to know you, buddy. The calls we've had are just great. But like I've told you all up until this point, right now, I just don't have anything I can offer to you as it relates to an investment. And the reason is I always like to give my existing investors the right of first refusal. But what I'd love to do, Al, is just put you on my list. And in the event I have an opening on something like a project that I think might be of interest to you, I'd love to get back in touch. Would that be okay with you? And when he says yes, he's validated, he trusts you, and invites you to call him back now with an investment opportunity, folks. So what do you think you're doing on call 3? You're pitching the deal. See, now he's giving you permission. You call back and say, Al, man, how's it going? Great. How's the weather? You warm him up. Last time we chatted, you asked me to put you on my list and give you a call if I had an opening on something that I thought you could get excited about. And it just so happens I do. I've only got about 300,000 left. We're closing out this deal. I'm going down my list. And if you have a couple minutes, I'd love to tell you what we're doing in Naples, Florida. And then you pitch, you create FOMO, you go over the highlights of the deal, you answer some questions, and then you send them what we call the entire investor kit, the PPM, the subscription agreement, so that he can actually fill those out and invest with you, the pitch deck, and then typically a little teaser like a one-pager. And then you call them back about a week later and you close. And, that's how you raise capital. And then you just repeat the process for multiple people. You can raise 500,000, you can raise 5 million. I've raised millions. And when you hire a team around you and teach them how to do this, you can literally create a money-raising machine. But it doesn't have to take 3 months or 6 months to go from zero to your first investment. You literally can raise your first investment in as little as 4 to 6 weeks. Why? Because each one of these calls is spaced about 7 to 10 days apart. So that's the validation where you're asking that question. The next step is attachment. Once they invest, they're now attached. They want you to be successful. So guess what? They'll introduce you to people in their network. You need to ask them, Al, who are you connected with, man, that I should be speaking with? And then it's affiliation. That's when they want to affiliate with you, hang out with you, and more importantly, introduce you to other new investors. Does it take time? Yes. Is it easy? No. That's why most people screw it up. They pitch too early in the process before there's trust. They're like trying to sell something to somebody on the first call. Another big mistake is going to Zoom and asking people, hey, would you like to get on a Zoom with me? The person getting that invite is like, this guy's taking the approach. He's reaching out to people he don't know, just like sending out an email with your PowerPoint attached. It's like it devalues the investment opportunity. And so those are some of the big rookie mistakes that we see people making all the time that we're able to fix. And once we're able to get people corrected and doing it right, it's like, man, this shit actually works. I mean, people are sending me money. They've never met me. All they're doing is talking to me over a telephone. And here I'm tearing open envelopes and inside are checks for $50,000, $100,000.
You brought up a great point, though, Brad, is that the Zoom is kind of that more impersonal connection.
Yep.
Like, what would you have to say about in-person connections? Like, how important is having that in all of this? Because it sounds like it's not just about money, it's about relationship building.
It's about relationships, and you can develop a relationship certainly with somebody over the phone or through a Zoom. We raise money, of course, from people all over the country. And so there is really not the ability to meet. But when you're going to a networking event or you create your own Facebook group and you invite people to that, or you get a referral, it's really all about the connection. So maybe the first meeting is done by phone. You're just talking, you're conversing, you literally disarm the person and say, look, I don't have anything to talk to you about from an investment perspective, but if you're interested in real estate, this is what we do. These are the tax benefits. These are the types of returns we're able to generate and provide for our investors. This is our track record. Would you like me to just send you a little brochure that just kind of introduces us? Sure. Then about a week later, you call back. Did you get it? Great. Do you have any questions? No. Again, I don't have anything to sell you. And this is where you start asking those temptation questions. You want to listen and really just get to know that person, because you build a relationship by getting the other person to talk about themselves. And then you ask that validation question. And then the third, you pitch. And then the fourth, you close. Now, if there is the ability to meet with the person, whether it's at a coffee shop, in your office, or in a setting that, is conducive to conducting business, I always recommend that. Absolutely 100%. But remember, it starts with perception. So if you show up to a meeting with a potential investor in jeans, like a schmuck, more than likely you're not going to get the investment. If you show up nicely groomed and dressed with a nice sports coat or something, and you've got your pitch deck and the pages are printed in color and it's got a nice glossy cover, the likelihood of you getting funded have gone up incrementally much higher, because now the guy looks at you and says, okay, this dude knows what he's talking about. He's a real player. He's got quality to the materials, and it shows, how you care that quality of the business card investor, how you're going to take care of their investment as a fiduciary.
Yeah, so it's all of this is fascinating because it sounds like it's optics, right? Like a lot of it can be optics in relationships. Forget the money, right? The money's there, right? Money is there. It's a matter of building that relationship. How are you presenting yourself? Is this somebody I want to work with? Do they have that kind of work ethic,
Yep.
but building that trust and getting to that next level. So, Brad, like how important is it to have even like the social media presence or to have
Mm.
that online presence like beforehand? So like that's what I've noticed is a lot of people lack on that end. So they
Yep.
don't have that trust. They don't know who that person is before they hop on a phone call, before they meet him in person. So they don't know who people are. How important is that to have that like you do? Like you have that
Yep.
on
Sure.
Facebook. You're always on social media. You're everywhere. You're always posting videos and you're hosting events and things. How important is that for credibility in the funding game, in the capital game with money?
Well, it's not a needed necessary thing. I mean, you should have a website for obvious reasons, because that's what people want to see. They want to see that you're, quote, a viable person. So I always recommend at least a website, LinkedIn. But you don't need to be posting every day like I do. I'm a coach, I'm an author, I'm a speaker as well. But here's the thing I will tell you. In 2012, with the passing of the Jobs Act, which was created to stimulate the economy by Obama, right? They really loosened their restrictions dramatically as it relates to the securities rules and regulations. So now you can literally advertise for investors using social media. I mean, you can advertise, hey, anybody want to invest? And so you see a lot of people that are posting advertisements or hosting webinars. And the way you do that is in your Facebook community or in your LinkedIn community or on Instagram with the swipe up. Learn more. Join us for a webinar next week as we talk about the tax benefits that multifamily can offer to you. So it's very, very important from the capital side of the business, because you can use that social media to literally raise massive amounts of money. That's what people are doing now. They're posting sponsored ads on Facebook. They're going to LinkedIn and creating an advertisement for a webinar or a future event. They're going to Instagram. So I would say it's very, very important. Now, when you do that, again, you want to come across as professional. And I always recommend you might look at having a business page and a personal page. The personal page is for the wife and the kids and everything in your personal life. The other page is largely for your business, the business of raising money. So if you don't have that, get started. There are plenty of agencies out there that focus on this that can help you do it right. We work with two agencies actually that create my content. Be more than happy to share that information with anybody if they want to DM me or reach out or send us an email. Follow me on Instagram and just say, hey, can I get the name of the agencies that you work with? Because it is really very, very important. You can certainly raise money without social media, but it's much, much easier when you use that social media as a tool.
I think it's important, right? Like even having the podcast, even having all of the social channels out there, it builds credibility. So when
Yep.
people deal with you, I meet you, you meet me. The next thing you do is you're looking them up online, going, "Whoa,
Correct.
look at this guy!"
Yeah.
Like, and the next thing you know, we're here, doing all this. So it's amazing what that does. It builds credibility and trust in the industry.
Yep.
So tell us about Capital School. Like, what is this? The whole function of it, like how are you helping others, how are you out promoting it, because you're a coach, author, speaker, like what are you doing with it?
Well, Capital School is really a coaching and a mentorship program. And inside of this coaching and mentorship program, we provide access to three things. So you're actually learning through three different mediums. One is we have a live weekly accountability call. So every week we go live. It's Thursday evenings, usually about 45 minutes to an hour. Many times we bring on a guest speaker, like a securities attorney, maybe somebody that's raising massive amounts of money so they can share their story, tell the other people, here's what I'm doing, here's what's working. So there's a live weekly accountability call. The second is we have a private Facebook community. So you're given access to this, it becomes your network. You got people all over the world in all these other countries. Many of them in Capital School are active investors themselves. So if you have a deal, take it to our community, and you might get funded internally just with the people that are students of ours in other parts of the country. The third is you get access to what I call the Capital School Toolkit. It is an online enrollment platform that you create an account in, and inside that are all of the videos, all of the guides, all of the workbooks, the templates, examples of pitch decks so that you can emulate and use the examples kind of as you're creating yours. We even give you the same template that law firms use to create your own PPM. Most law firms are going to charge $30, $70, $80,000 to create a private placement memorandum. Why not learn to do your own and then hire an attorney not to prepare it, but just to review it and save tens of thousands of dollars in the process? So that is Capital School. Now, we obviously have different levels of the coaching, right? If people want more proximity to me, or they want my team to prepare all this stuff for them and make introductions to investors, that certainly comes at a cost, but it's available, and we certainly do offer that. The second thing is we do boot camps. Matter of fact, we're doing a live intensive boot camp in November, the 19th and the 20th. We've already got a lot of people that have signed up for that. It's $1,297. You come to Houston, you spend 2 days with us in our offices, and we sit down and we literally put together your pitch deck. We create your strategy. We help you structure the deal. We teach you multiple ways of raising capital, crowdfunding, doing events, etc., so that when you leave and get back home, you literally have a strategy in place to begin that following week on your capital raise. So if any of your listeners want to come to our live event, it's, like I said, November the 19th and 20th, $1,297 for 2 days in our offices. I guarantee it'll open your eyes to a whole new world of raising money. Because here's the thing I tell people, look, there's a lot of coaches out there that say, oh, you can come to me, we'll teach you how to raise money. Most of them that are doing it in real estate are getting $25,000, $40,000, $60,000 to fix and flip a house. Okay? That's great. You split the profits on the back end. I get it. And some of these people are like, we've raised a couple million. There's a major difference between raising a few million and $2 billion. The other big difference is I've raised money from every conceivable source you can fathom: high net worth investors, family offices, sovereign wealth funds, pensions, trusts. So when somebody comes to me and says, look, we've already raised 20 million, we're very successful, but we want to learn how to get into family offices. For us, like, that's the next rung on the ladder. Great. We can teach you how to do that. Why? Because I've done it. I've done it all. Most of the other people haven't even knocked on the door of a family office, let alone know what they are. And so I think that's one of the reasons, Al, that we're quickly becoming the number one place on planet Earth to learn how to raise money from high net worth investors, because I believe nobody teaches it better than us.
So what is that difference dealing with the billions versus the millions? You said there's a difference in that kind of strategy. What is that?
Yep. Well, number one is if somebody comes to me and says, look, I want to raise, $100 million. Great. You can do that, but you're going to be picking up a lot of $50,000 and $100,000 checks from high net worth individuals like the doctors and the people that live amongst us in our communities. And you're going to have a lot of investors and a lot of headaches. The easier way is to go to the next rung on the ladder and start talking to family offices that can invest $5, $10, $25 million. Then you only need 7 to 10 of them, and boom, you're done. So, that's a whole different level. Same thing with sovereign wealth funds. Personally, I've raised over 50 million just out of the state of Israel through a fund that invests in real estate. So when you're thinking about your capital raise, you have to literally understand, like, who are you targeting as a potential investor based on the amount of money you're looking to raise. A great example is I've been approached by a 2-time Grammy award-winning musical artist, and we are creating an NFT that is going to be backed digitally by music and all the artwork in the album. And it is being done in partnership with the Salvation Army, and it will be marketed by them with all of the major TV networks and pushed out to the world. We're only raising 200,000. And this potential value for that token could be in the millions. And so, for the people that participate with us on that $25,000, $50,000, you have the opportunity to turn that potentially into $1 million within 6 to 12 months because it's a form of digital currency. But when people come to me, it validates for me that we are the company or the person that people turn to help them raise capital. And I tell people, I guarantee that if you do what we teach you to do, you will be successful. That's why Capital School comes with a 30-day money back guarantee. I tell people, if you're not going to put some effort and action into this, save your money, because we'll give you all the knowledge you ask for. But again, you got to do something with the knowledge. You can't just show up and then not do anything.
So if you're really looking to get into the raising capital and all the funding game, connect with Brad. Connect with him. We have all his contact that's going to keep going on the screen. If you have any questions, we're live. We're right here. I have one of my big fans, Marvin. Marvin was saying being in a company with lenders and a private Facebook page is gold. There's so many scammers in the public Facebook pages. So Marvin knows, and he's always on Facebook. So you have a lot of people that are active in the social media community that are interested in raising capital and doing the private lending and stuff like that. It's really interesting, Brad. You've mentioned it several times, not even just US. You're an international man.
We're global. I mean, I coach students in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, here, of course, in the US, over in the UK, Dubai, Latin America. And, when people ask me, like, what market do you sell to? My market is planet Earth, because the language and how you approach investors is the same anywhere you go in the world, how you close them, what you say to them. The only difference or the only nuance is the securities regulations that might vary from country to country. So I tell people, depending on the country you're in, counsel, you want to make sure that you abide by the do's and the don'ts where you reside. But what we will teach you to do is how to get your deal in front of the investor, how to pitch to the investor, what to say to the investor, how to close them, how to set up your capital raising business and infrastructure, your LLCs, or whatever it is you're lacking, investor relations, newsletters, those types of things. And, it's really funny. We talked about Capital School for those people that are interested. We talked about, of course, the live event that we're doing for those that want to come and spend 2 intensive days live with me, my team. There's another way that you can also get into proximity with me. Actually, I'll be back in Miami November the 5th and 6th, speaking at a major event there called the Young Hustlers Conference. This conference basically has boxing legend Floyd Mayweather sharing his story as one of the speakers. Bobby Castro, who is phenomenal. He sold his company, Bankers Healthcare, for over $1 billion. And today, him and his wife, Sophia, they own over $500 million in multifamily assets. We got 10X, Brandon Dawson in the house. He's, of course, Grant Cardone's business partner, myself, and some other speakers. For those that live in Florida or the Grady, Miami area, it's taking place November 5th and 6th. It's called the Young Hustlers Conference. You can look at the website, Young Hustlers Conference, buy your ticket. There's a yacht party the following day. For those that live maybe outside of Florida that want an experience of a lifetime, come join me on the private jet. I take people from Houston to the conference on the jet. We experience the conference and then we fly back. And so if that's something that you'd like to be on a private jet with 7, 8 entrepreneurs that are 7, 8 figure money makers, this is an experience. You have to realize if you want to make money, your network is your net worth, right? Let me always say that again. Your network is your net worth. And that's why in Capital School, I tell people, introduce yourself to our other students and members. Network, build that community, because that community can then connect you with other potential investors. I might not be able to invest, but I guarantee I know 12 to 15 other people that can write you a check tomorrow.
And you're surrounding yourself with people that also have money that take action, right? Like,
absolutely, 100%. Absolutely. I mean, we had a video Zoom with Billy Dorsey that's doing this NFT coin. We've already raised the $200,000 probably between 3-4 people. It's done, and just like that, boom, snap of the fingers, I raised $200,000. So it doesn't have to take a long time, folks, if you know how to do it and do it right. Avoid the rookie mistakes. Many people try to raise money and they flounder. Why? Because they're making mistakes. They're not coming across the right way. They're not building the trust. If you get it correct going in, then you're set up for success. Then you can raise massive, massive amounts of capital.
So Brad, what's interesting about you is you're a speaker, right? You're not just, behind the screen and, at home doing capital school. You're out there constantly. You're a coach. So what's that been like for you? Also, like, you're speaking at, I think you were just at another real estate mastermind like this past weekend or something.
Yeah.
I saw you there. I'm like, man, they're so lucky to have Brad speaking there.
Yeah.
Cause
I
like
mean,
I've seen a video of you and you're like, once you get up there, you're like pacing back and forth. You're like, really telling people like, this is how you do it. This is what it's like to raise capital and how
exactly.
everybody can do it. It's just a matter of being really in the game. So what has been that experience for you being at these conferences? Like, what's the importance of that for network building, and how do people capitalize even on that?
Sure. I mean, this has been a busy month. I've been at 6 events. I think the one in Miami was the real estate mastermind. We had probably 150 people, 3 yachts going out. Some of the biggest names in real estate were there that are wholesaling, flipping, doing short-term rentals. We had a lot of people sign up for Capital School, sign up for the intensive boot camps we do. But the reason I love to get on stage is really to add value and share my story, because being on stage and sharing a story from a stage is the greatest connection, because people get to meet you. They get to come to the back of the room, take a picture with you, buy a book. I autograph books, et cetera, et cetera. It's that personal touch that many people want to have with me and a guy that's raised $2 billion. The other reason, of course, too, is that it allows people to ask me questions about Capital School or about the live training or about how they can get in closer proximity to me. And then, of course, largely, it's many times I'm getting paid as a speaker to show up and to speak. And so, naturally, if you're getting paid for an hour's presentation, a pretty nice 5-figure check, they make it worth your while. It just adds to the bottom line. And so I'll be actually in LA this weekend on Sunday speaking at the Real Estate Expo. There'll be over 1,000 people at this event, some of the biggest players on the West Coast in California, Arizona, and Nevada. It's backed by Realty 411, the big magazine that a lot of people subscribe to. So there's that. And then from there, I spend the following week, of course, back in Miami at the Young Hustlers. And so, we like to keep a full calendar. I just love to speak. I love to basically motivate and inspire people, because I believe a good speaker and a good coach should really do 3 things. Number one, they should motivate and inspire you. Number two, they should basically ask you the tough questions. You know what you should be doing to be hugely successful. You just ain't doing it. And then the third is, a good coach, I think, has the ability to see the potential in somebody that that person's not capable of seeing themselves. And then that coach helps that person unlock that and really develop it so that they start becoming more successful and stepping into a bigger future, both financially, as a person, maybe in their health, in their relationships. Because if you've ever read the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People by Stephen Covey, which is a great book, but a very tough read, he talks about this concept, Al, called the whole person theory. It's one thing to be massively successful and make a lot of money, but if your relationships suck and you're a bad husband, then you're not successful. So when you become a whole person, it's mind, it's body, it's spirit, and soul. And each one of those is responsible for something. The mind and the body are obvious. The spirit and the soul are largely your passion, your purpose, like why you wake up every day and do what you do. You see, I always ask people, what's your purpose in life? And they're like, well, what do you mean? Like, why do you get up every day? Like, why do you do what you do? And they're like, well, I got a job. I got to pay my bills. I'm like, that ain't purpose. You don't understand what purpose is. And until you really know what motivates you and like what your purpose is, it's really challenging to keep pushing through and keep getting back up when you get knocked down. And so one of the things that I help people do is understand what purpose is so that they can evaluate and decide for them really what it is that's going to motivate them to put forth that effort and action to get to that next rung on the ladder.
So many things that you talk about, Brad, are basic concepts that a lot of people don't apply,
Yep.
right? Like, it's amazing, right? It's not even
Amen,
about
brother.
money. It's about, all these taking action, building relationships, doing the right things, making sure you're like all your things in life are in order. And
Yep.
then that will propel you to do the right things or be around the right people, be around, network with the right people. It's like
Correct.
the little things that a lot of people don't pay attention to is what makes a difference.
Well, there's 2 things. Number one is, people want to be successful. Okay. But you have to step back and analyze the vehicle you're in and determine, will the vehicle I'm in get me where I want to go? For example, if you're working selling automobiles, very unlikely you're going to be flying in your own Learjet in 5 to 7 years, right? Because you don't make enough income selling cars, or working at McDonald's or whatever it is. If you're paid an hourly wage or you're paid a salary, it's going to be very challenging to create wealth quickly. Now, you can save for 50 years and keep your fingers crossed and hope that you get wealthy, but analyze the vehicle you're in. And if you're in the wrong vehicle, get in a vehicle where you can really make some serious money, 300, 500,000 a year. That puts you in the upper 1% of all people on earth as it relates to the amount of money you make. The second thing is invest. Like I said earlier, start investing, racking and stacking, compound interest, and the compounding effect is one of the greatest forces on planet Earth. I wish I had started saving in my 20s rather than starting later in life. And lastly, diversify, right? Own some stocks and get good quality. Don't invest in the shit. Get good quality stocks, the Amazons, the Teslas, the Apples, the Disneys, right? Then invest in real estate. And if you're playing the Bitcoin market, there's a shitload of money being made there. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's high risk. Maybe take 15, 20% and just let it run. And some of these internet stocks are making millionaires, people, and that's great. But once you become a millionaire out of Bitcoin or out of Ethereum or Satoshi Inu, whatever it is you're playing, take some of that, lock it in, get it out of the market, because God forbid you have a flash crash. God forbid you lose 50% of that. You're just really going to regret it. So if you get to a point where it's life-changing money, get it out of your wallet, move it to a bank, put it in the stock market, buy some real estate, and lock in those profits.
Yeah, diversify your portfolio, right? And that's another way that you can protect yourself, raise capital, raise money, and build wealth all at the same time.
Absolutely. Correct.
Brad, do you have any take on crypto? I know you were mentioning Bitcoin and how there's a big thing there. Any take on that?
Yeah, crypto is the way of the future, folks. You look at all of these coins, these tokens. I mean, like I said earlier, I'm working with a 2-time Grammy artist. We're creating an NFT that's backed by music. Katy Perry, big musician, of course, has an NFT because what NFTs are doing is it's going to put the record labels out of business. When you're a musical artist and you go to a big record company, you sign a deal, they get a percentage of your profits, right? They're going to use the marketing to hopefully make you a big celebrity, but they get a significant amount. If you're a musical artist and you create your NFT, you're getting rid of the record label. You keep all of the profits, right? And so I really believe that it's going to disrupt the record labels, because if I'm now one of a fan of a musical artist and I buy that NFT, I can now sell that NFT and make money with it. So if I buy, for example, Katy Perry's NFT, I get access to the album, I get access to the music, and that NFT goes up, I can sell that. Well, I can't go to Walmart and buy a CD or a damn album and then sell that 6 months later and make a shitload of money. So when people realize I can follow my musical artist, I can get access to the music, and then I can sell that shit and make a lot of money, it'll put record labels out of business. That's my personal belief on the NFTs. But when you look at all of these tokens and all of these markets, I really think more people are embracing them. But you really need to understand what digital currency is. You need to understand, how you buy some of these scarce coins, on the DeFi market, or how you can exchange one for another, and those things. Because a lot of the stuff out there is, I won't say fraudulent, but there are some, markets that pop up, create a wallet, and then poof, it disappears. So if you're going to invest in crypto, make sure you're using a sound US based wallet. Just like what we do. Who was that? Yeah, Malachi said NFTs are the future. Absolutely. That's why I'm involved in them.
Yeah. George is all about NFTs. He loves crypto, and that's been a big thing with the sheep thing that came out. I don't even follow. I don't follow any of this though, Brad. Like I'll just hear about it, and it's like people are getting more involved in that, but then they forget there's all the real estate side of it too. You got to be diversified in everything in order to get that generational wealth.
Correct.
And you have to be educated and keep up on it, right? You don't have to know everything. You just got to know just enough to be educated in all that. So
that's exactly it.
This has been so valuable for people. So, Brad, tell everybody. So, what's the conference with Mayweather?
So it's the Young Hustler Conference. It is at the Coven Center at FIU on the 5th and 6th. You got to buy your tickets in advance. The website, if you do want to go, is younghustlersconference.com. And I'll be there. Like I said, Floyd Mayweather, meet and greet. He's going to be talking about his story. Also, Rich the Kid, big musical artist, rapper. The guy's got over 300 million views of his albums. He's got over 8 million followers. He is essentially the Snoop Dogg, the Lil Wayne. If you like that type of music, many of the people here listening might know who Rich the Kid is. He'll be there. Bobby Castro, like I said, Ken Jocelyn, myself, Tori Cruz, who was a Miss USA contestant. She won Miss Missouri. She really empowers the ladies. If you really are a woman, you just need to be empowered and inspired. There's going to be a couple of phenomenal women speakers there as well. But it really is, just learning from these people. And it's just, getting in the same room to understand what it was they did to ultimately become massively successful. Figuring out how to become hugely successful really is not that difficult, folks. You find somebody that's been there, done what you want to do, and then you just step into their shoes and you largely repeat the process. They'll mentor you, they'll coach you. Many of the people speaking have programs like Bobby, right, and 10X, Brandon Dawson. So it's largely about that. And then, of course, you got a big yacht party on the last day. And it's just all about networking. It's getting in that room. I'll tell you, the one thing that I've done that's changed my life more than anything else I've ever done is investing in myself. Investing in knowledge and in yourself is better than any investment. It's better than Bitcoin. It's better than Sheep. It's better than anything. Why? Because that's what allows you to grow and realize that the conventional way, the way most people are taught, it don't work. We have one of the biggest scams in the world, and that is you go to school, you get a college degree, you put money into a 401k, you work your entire career, and you retire at 62, 65, you get Social Security. Well, why is 87% of the United States basically broke? The secret is get the knowledge from people that are massively successful, invest in yourself, read the books, invest in things that are going to grow. Because, don't go out and buy a Lambo or a Rolex when you become successful. Invest in assets and then let the investment pay for those assets. Let the income that is generated from your assets buy you those nice things. And that's the biggest mistake I see a lot of these young kids doing is they go out and they buy this crap and they wonder why they're never getting ahead financially. It's because you want to get to a point where literally you don't finance a Lambo. You go in and you write a check. You don't finance those types of big purchases. You literally pay cash with the investments you have.
I'll say this, Brad, if I took anything from this episode from you, it's building the relationships, invest in yourself, and you're so well connected with the whole community and doing all these conferences and speaking, and it's all about that relationship building. And
Absolutely.
You don't get to that level without connecting, building, like you said in the beginning, 2, 3, 4 times connecting and then getting to that next level. It's incredible how you're doing it and speaking, and you love to speak, you get in front of audiences, but then you're with all these big people. It's incredible. And so for those that are watching, take it from Brad, invest in yourself, right?
Invest in yourself, absolutely. Invest in yourself, read books, listen to podcasts like the Al Nicoletti Show. We have a podcast. You can go to my website, just bradblazar.com. You can look at prior episodes. The other thing too is if you don't have a podcast, think of starting one. My podcast was ranked by Yahoo Finance and Yahoo News as the second highest ranked show in the United States to help people cope with COVID-19. My book, On the Wings of Eagles, was ranked on a major literary blog as the #1 book for entrepreneurs. So, I largely know what I'm talking about, but there's a lot of power in writing a book. If you haven't written a book, think about writing a book. Why? Because it gives you instant credibility. When you go to an event or you meet somebody and they say, hey, do you have a business card? You can say, I don't carry business cards. I carry books. People lose business cards. They don't lose books. And then you sign it for them and they're like, wow, it's something special. It's that bond. And so when I go to these events, I don't take any business cards with me. I just say, folks, if you want a book, I'll be more than happy to autograph a book. It's got my name on it. That name will take you right to my website. That's the best connection I can make with you. And it's just, you have to think about marketing. You are a brand, folks. Everybody that's on this or that will ever listen to this, has to realize you are a brand. This logo on my hat, the Capital School logo, is worth far more than me or the business or the income it generates. Because if I ever decided to sell my training and coaching program to somebody, and I've already been approached, I can command a much higher price because it's a recognized global brand, like Nike, like Disney, like any other brand, right? There's value in the brand and your logo. So understand that. I worked for SmartStop Asset Management, raised them almost $200 million. And it's just like Public Storage and Extra Space. When my friend Michael Schwartz sold his first portfolio, which had a portfolio value in the real estate itself of roughly 400 million, he got paid $1.3 billion for it, 3x, because the brand, the name, SmartStop, it was a branded portfolio where every property had blue doors, same logo. So that is very, very important to understand in real estate, in building a business, is that you are a brand.
You're an image. It's all about that.
Exactly.
Yeah, Brad. So tell everybody your book. I mean, I would love to read the Brad Blazar book. So what's the book that you have, and like tell us what it's about a little bit.
Well, it's not book, it's books.
It's
I'm a
books.
3-time author, so there's 3
Oh wow,
books.
let's go.
So 3 books. You can get them on my website. If you buy them through the website, it takes much longer because I autograph them. We send it out. But you can go to Amazon. So if you go to Amazon, just put my name in the search bar, Brad Blazar. Just make sure you spell the last name the correct way. It's B-L-A-Z, like zebra, A-R. It's Blazar. And all 3 books will pop up. The first book I wrote, On the Wings of Eagles, Learn to Soar in Life, is largely a compilation of the stories that I've picked up in the experiences of meeting and working with other people. People like George W. Bush, people like Shaquille O'Neal, people like Joe Namath, Rudy Rudiger, all these amazing people, Kevin O'Leary. And so I take some of the things I've learned from them. They're the Eagles. And that's why it's called On the Wings of Eagles. And so it's a great book for entrepreneurs because it's largely about mindset. With that book, we also trademarked a phrase called the art of beliefology, which is more of a concept. You change your beliefs, you create new habits, you can create a new future. That is a federal trademark phrase. Nobody in the world can use that. So that was the first book. My second book is called Put Some Thrive in Your Hive, Unlocking Potential in Any Organization. It's really geared for businesses, CEOs, managers, how to create a culture of performance, how to get all your employees on the same page, how to compensate them, how to reward them, because I do a lot of corporate coaching, sales training. And then the third one is one that really applies probably more to this, and that is winning at the capital game. That teaches you how to raise money, teaches you the verbiage, goes into depth, the type of investors you're looking for. And so you can buy all 3. You can buy any one. If you go to the website, like I said, we'll autograph them, send them out to you. So, that's the books. And so I really recommend, if you're interested, buy the books, get into our coaching, and really surround yourself with people that are learning how to raise capital and do it the right way. If you're wholesaling real estate, you're flipping houses, you want to get to the next level, start doing bigger deals, you need money, because here's where most people start. They start in real estate, wholesaling, fixing, flipping, rehabbing. And then what they realize is they're on this treadmill. It is a transactional business. The second you stop doing that, you stop making money. Wouldn't it be nice to have mailbox money where you can create enough income where you don't have to work? You see, you just show up every day, there's mailbox money. And so once you create that, you're done. It's like, I don't have to work. I have money coming in every month from the tenants that pay rent. But you have to work to get there. That process doesn't have to take forever. It can happen in as short a time as 2 to 3 years of just working real hard and getting behind your goals and your dreams, so that you can get off a transactional type real estate business and get into one that's more passive, that's really going to allow you to build that generational wealth. And then just have that PMA every day, as Bobby Castro says, your positive mental attitude.
Yeah, I mean, Brad, you're inspiring some people. Marvin even posted bradblazar.com /shop. And then George is like, yeah, I want some mailbox money. So, at the end of the day, it's being that inspiration to people, right? And I think that is what you're doing. That's what you're getting on stages. You're inspiring people to really not even just getting in the capital game, but changing their mindset about how they're thinking through things and networking. So Is there going to be a book number 4?
We're working on it. Yeah,
Ah,
it works. Yeah, we're working on it. I just love to share my knowledge, and more importantly, it really inspires me when people comment or send me testimonials. If you go to my Instagram page today, you'll see 2 comments in my stories from people that have the books and just said thank you so much, or we're underlying and highlighting certain pages and things like that, because that's really what it's about. It's about creating this legacy that lives when you're gone. And it's something that, my daughter, who is 10, really looks to. She sees her daddy be successful, so that when she's an adult, she is then inspired to be equally as successful, or at least realizes it's okay if you don't want to go to college. It's okay if you don't have a job and you want to be an entrepreneur. And so I'm surrounding her with coaches already. She's going to be going in November to a thing called Success Camp that's ran by one of the biggest coaches on planet Earth, Coach Michael Burt. He's been my coach, and he does the same thing for kids. He gives them confidence, gives them respect, teaches them how to build relationships with their friends, and really sets them up for success as they mature and get older. I take her to the airport, let her sit in the private jet, so she realizes that, wow, this is a lot nicer than flying on Southwest. And so I'm exposing her mind to open up and see a bigger future in her own life, but that has to start at a young age.
that's great. That's a great idea.
Yep.
You see what it's like at a young age. That's what you want, and then you envision it and grow from there. It's amazing.
Absolutely. You look at Grant's daughter, who spoke at 10X. I was so proud of her. I mean, here's a little girl that's speaking to an audience of 35,000 people, and she commanded that stage. Literally, I mean, standing ovation. Here she is, little girl, not even a teenager yet.
Wow.
And she got up there with so much confidence and so much conviction that she just crushed it.
Got to speak with confidence, and
Yep.
people will believe too.
That's it. The one thing I wanted to note is Marvin put my website up there. And Marvin, you spelled my last name incorrectly, so if anybody clicks on that link, they won't get it. It's Brad Blazar, ZAR.com. So you just have to remember, just like it is on the screen here, bradblazar.com, and you'll see Capital School, the books, the T-shirts, the website, the Capital School. Capital Con is our big event in April. If you want to come to an event in April 2022, go to my website. You'll see the link for Capital Con. We had Shark Tank's Kevin Harrington there this year as a keynote. We had Sharon Lechter, the co-author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Outwitting the Devil, one of the best financial literacy advisors. And so, get your tickets to Capital Con. It's here in Houston. It's in the central U.S. We pick out a beautiful resort. We have some great speakers that are going to be celebrity status, talking to Bobby Castro, talking to others. The ticket prices go up monthly from now until the event. So every month they get more expensive. It builds scarcity. It creates urgency. So take a look at the website. If you're interested, grab your tickets, lock them in now, because you only got a couple more days until we get into the next month, and they will go up. That is a promise.
And all these conferences are all of a sudden like popping up here and there. I see so many things happening. They're coming. They're all happening next year.
Yeah, and I'll share a story. When COVID came out, I guess it's been about a year and a half now. I was on a call with Beyonce's dad, Matt Knowles, who's a good friend of mine, and he was complaining about all of the speaking events he had lined up that were getting canceled. And he said, I just lost about $300,000 in speaker fee revenue. And I said, I empathize. I just had all my events canned and canceled too. I was supposed to be at War Room in Vegas, which is a big mastermind ran by, Roland Frazier, Ryan Dice, Perry Belcher, all the big people were there. That was canned. So I said, let me ask you a question. Like, what's happening to all the big concerts? Like all the musicians around the world, are their concerts being canceled? Oh yeah, absolutely. And so basically I came up with an idea, and we partnered with one of my students that had a ticketing platform, and we allowed musical artists to live stream concerts through their home studio with their bands to generate money through their Facebook communities. The second thing we did is I created the first and probably the largest virtual event, which was called Conquer the Crisis. We did 4 of them, one a month, and we had about 800 people that showed up at each one of these. We had Bobby Castro, Brad Lee, Matt Knowles, Coach Michael Burt, Les Brown's daughter. It was just a world-class lineup of people. And it was kind of like, Live Aid or We Are the World, because we raised money through the ticket subscriptions, and then we donated a portion of that to MD Anderson Cancer Research for COVID research, cancer research. But what really came out of that, like you said, is the relationships by just reaching out to those people that didn't know me. And I said, hey, I'm doing this big ass virtual event. You can do it from your office or from your living room, called Conquer the Crisis. here's some of the other big speakers that we're having. And like, yeah, let's do it, man. And then I'm talking to people like Kevin Harrington. I got his phone number. Talking to people like Bobby Castro, Brad Lee. I mean, I was then dropping bombs, flew out to see him in the studio after we did that because he said, I love what you're doing, man. You want to come out and be on dropping bombs? Well, I mean, how cool is that?
Amazing. Big names.
Yeah.
I mean, those connections lead to more connections, puts
Yep.
you on stage. Now you're with all these other people. You're going to be at all these conferences, Brad. I mean, I love what you're doing. I love seeing
Appreciate
it.
you, buddy.
Yeah, it's great. And I love the audience. I know really appreciates it. We have people that are watching. As
Yep.
soon as we were talking about all the stuff with relationships and generational wealth and crypto, I mean, people are watching this stuff. So incredible stuff. Brad, we'll make sure we post your stuff one more time. If you're interested in Capital School and you want to see more of Brad and you want to go see
Yep.
the Young Hustlers Conference and the thing that's happening in April, what is that?
Capital Con, which is our
Capital
own
Con.
event. That's my event. I put it together. I bring in some of the biggest speakers. It's 2 days. It's game changing, folks. You'll learn how to raise money, invest in real estate, be around the right people. We have fund managers that are there that are raising massive amounts of money, like Robert Martinez at Rockstar Capital. He owns over $500 million, all of it backed by OPM, other people's money. He hadn't put a penny of his own money into that. So, it's learning again from the best.
Yeah, and if you want to check it out, get with Brad, check out the websites. He's all on social media, Instagram, Facebook, his website. I mean, he's all over the place and he's always speaking at all these events. So Brad, it was so amazing seeing you at Mastermind Meeting for the first time. And it's amazing.
I'm sure we'll see each other again, buddy.
Yeah, you got it. And so before we get off, Brad, final words, final thoughts.
Like I said earlier, folks, you got to find out why you wake up every day and do what you do. I'll share just a quick story as we wrap up here. I've got a very good friend in Dallas named Matt Monero. He's an author, speaker. He's written a great book called Grit. But Matt owns 3 businesses that do about $100 million a year. One of them is a big commercial fleet finance company where they provide financing to big commercial fleets. And he shared a story with an audience many years ago that I'll never forget. He said, it was right around Christmas, and my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law came over with their family. And so the ladies went into the kitchen and they're cooking and everything, getting everything ready for dinner. And me and my brother-in-law went upstairs to the big bonus room. We were watching the Dallas Cowboy game. And it was right about the middle of the third quarter. And my brother-in-law just fell asleep on the couch. And so I just let him, snooze away. And when we got into the early fourth quarter, he literally jumped out of the couch and he grabbed my arm. And I was startled and I stared at him. And I said, "You okay?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "I think so." He said, "I think I just had a bad dream, I guess, or something like that." And he said, my brother-in-law then looked at me with a stare that I'll never forget. He said, "Matt, can I share something with you?" And I said, "Yeah, I mean, of course, man. Like, you're my brother, you're family." He said, "Matt, I just want to let you know I have cancer and it's real bad." And Matt's like, "Oh, geez, man. It's like the last thing I wanted to hear. Like how bad is it?" He's like, "It's terminal, and I've probably got about 6 to 8 months left to live. The doctors say there's really not much they can do." And so Matt naturally said, like, "Well, what does Susie say?" That was the wife. "I haven't even told her yet. She doesn't know." And Matt's like, "You haven't told your wife you're dying of cancer?" He said, "I can't bring myself to do it, Matt. You see, I fucked up. We don't have life insurance, and I just don't know what to say and what to do." And Matt's like, "Wow." He said, "Well, I think it's time to go downstairs and have a little family conversation." So he forced his brother-in-law to go downstairs and share the fact he was dying of cancer. And as you all can imagine, every emotion we experience as humans came out in 30 minutes, hugging, kissing, crying, tears, etc. And it wasn't even 6 months. It was 3 months, and they had a funeral, and they said their goodbyes, and they buried him. And so 2 days after that, Matt's wife came down, and he could tell that she had been crying upstairs in the bathroom because her mascara was running. He said, "What's wrong, Cookie?" And she said, "I've been thinking about my sister and what her future looks like. I mean, you heard the situation they're in. She's going to have to go back to work, maybe get on welfare, maybe sell the house, maybe get 2 jobs. She's got 3 kids. I mean, I've just been thinking about that. Like, what do we do?" And he's like, "They'll figure it out. Sometimes God has a way of intervening. They'll be fine." And so later that week, he said, I picked up the phone and I called out to the sister-in-law and I said, "Hey, we'd love to have you over for dinner. The kids can play in the pool. I know it's been real emotional, real hard. Does that sound like something that would interest you?" She said, "Yeah." So they came over, they're out barbecuing and everything. And at the end of the evening, when they were saying their goodbyes, he reached into the lapel in his sports coat and he handed her an envelope. And she opened it, and inside of that envelope, there was a card. And it said, "Your family, we love you." And she said, "I can't take this." And he said, "You will." It was a check for $3 million. That's purpose, folks, at the highest level. He said, how many people want to be like Rich Uncle Matt? Every hand in the audience went up as people were crying. You see, my purpose is my family. I want to be the rock in my family so that if my siblings, my cousins ever need to turn to me for anything, it's like, sure, here you go. So do it for your family. Put your name on a building. Okay. My Uncle Henry that I told you about earlier, if you're in New York, go to the Albert Einstein School of Medicine. His name is on the building because he wrote a check for $10 million because he was very philanthropic and he wanted to do something to help medicine. That's purpose, folks. When you can wake up every day and do something for that type of a purpose, you start to understand why you do what you do. And so I'll end with that tonight and just say it's been great being here, Al. Great to see everybody that's here. You're counting in yourself. You're holding yourself responsible to be listening to the Al Nicoletti Show. Hopefully you've learned something. You've come away with some golden nuggets. For those of you interested in Capital School or the books, hope to see you inside. And you and I will stay in touch, buddy, because I love what you're doing too.
Thank you so much, Brad. Brad, amazing story, incredible, very inspiring, and it's amazing what life is like, and it can go in a flash in an instant. And but you're incredible with the way you presented that and explained it. So, Brad, thank you so much for being on the show. It's a blast. Always great seeing you. Always great connecting with you, hearing all the content, and I know the listeners got a ton out of it. So, I'll see you next time. I'll see you soon, Brad.
All right, my friend. Take care. It's been great to be on your show.
You too. Thank you. Wow. What an episode right there. I knew Brad was going to lay it down. He was going to talk all about generational wealth and capital funding. But at the end of the day, it's really about life and really what you're setting your life to be and your family's life to be. And it's what an impact at the end right there. So for more content like these amazing speakers, all about relationship building too. If you didn't see that throughout the whole episode, Brad is super well connected throughout, not even the US, the world. I mean, he's not just the US man, he's the global man, the worldwide man that's going around and he loves explaining all about the capital world and how anybody can do it, but also how easily you can change your mindset, how you can change the way you're thinking and the way you're doing things. So if you can take anything from that, learn it from Brad, connect with Brad. He's an incredible speaker. Check out his conferences. Check out the Capital Con that he's doing next year and follow him. Follow where he's going. Check out all the content. I love seeing him walk back and forth, really being that inspiration. And check out all the amazing guests that are on the Al Nicoletti Show on Instagram, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, tons and tons of episodes. And I will see you next time on the Al Nicoletti Show. Take care and good night.